7th from 11 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. at the Rio Hotel and Casino for an inspiring afternoon honoring Tony F. Sanchez III of Envy Energy as Executive of the Year and Catholic Charities of Southern Nevada as a Business Partner of the Year. Enjoy lunch, meaningful stories, and a chance to support hardworking students. All right, man, we are here in studio. Look at the shirt I got on today. By visiting Crystal Racing. You can see the USA.
Clark County Credit Union.
I've been on the USA bandwagon for a while, man.
Available just for you.
Don't be afraid to support the United States of America.
Unrivaled security at Spark.
Aloha. I will be coming to Maui soon.
CCCU. Is it about time you became a member? Open a bonus checking account today and start earning more interest.
I don't know why. Our Twitter feed is not showing up with the stream on Twitter.
American Share Insurance.
Haven't figured that out for about a week. Oh, there it is. It is. There it is. Wow. Wow, look at that. Cars for kids. What do you want to talk about, chat? Okay. Oh, I got a good topic for everybody. You ready for this?
Picked up by tomorrow.
We got wasted talent and we have Levi Edwards. This is a really important topic. Do you like the 3-4 defense or the 4-3? Historically, I like the 4-3. I like the 4-3. What about you?
Store.com's lender makes it quick and easy. In less time than this ad, you can fill out a few fields at lendingstore.com and find out if a lender can get you $500 to $5,000 as early
Get me in between. There we go. Everybody having a good day today or what, man?
Lender and did not make decisions. Must be 18 years old, not available in all states.
From birthdays to business meetings, or just because, Craze makes every moment delicious.
So Kubiak Clay on the 3-4.
Visit GrazeCraze.com. Celebrate everything. Call 702-605-6333. Graze Charcuterie.
Australia's biggest sport hits Vegas. Rugby League Las Vegas, Saturday, February 28th at Allegiant Stadium. 3 games, Aussie vibes, 1 epic ticket. Plug in your seat now at nrl.com/Vegas. Rugby League Las Vegas. Let's go.
Your afternoon Raiders fix with your boy Q on Unnecessary Roughness 2 to 5 on Raider Nation Radio 920 AM KRLV Las Vegas.
It's the JT the Brick Show.
This is the Silver and Black. This is the Raiders. This is a historic franchise. This is no ordinary job.
Your Silver and Black home to sound off for over 25 years.
I don't care if I offend somebody. If it isn't right, I'm going to stop practice. We're going to do it the right way.
And now, here's JT the Brick.
Yes, the light is on, which means I'm on. I've been up all day, man. I'm rolling today. We're ready to go. Let's get going. Are you ready to roll? What's going on? People are in the chat. We call it the chat. It's kind of a live interactive chat on my YouTube channel. We're trying to get to a certain number on YouTube. We can only get there with you. Everybody needs to be on YouTube to see the show, to make new internet friends. And I didn't know like 4 or 5 years ago that our big safety net in radio would be the YouTube. So get on in, JT the Brick on YouTube, JT the Brick YT. It's free. I don't know how you don't subscribe for free. I subscribe to anything for free. So let's get rolling today. Levi Edwards live from the Combine. He will join us from Radio Row in about 10 minutes. Wasted talent a little bit later on in the show. He's fantastic. Great content provider here. Why is he on the show? Because he's an adult. He has a calming voice. He's much more calmer than I am. And he speaks to a good audience, and we'd like to build with his audience, and we think we're helping him build his audience. It's kind of nice, and we like having him on. So he's going to join us today, and then we open it up for you at 702-365-9200. I got a great topic today because I'm not sure about it. And when I get in here, I'm sure about everything. I don't get paid to be right. I get paid to have opinions. I don't get paid to be correct. I get paid to have opinions. But unlike some of the people you listen to on national shows who get it wrong 15 times a day, I take pride in getting it right. I'm a sports fan. I know sports. That's what I do. It's not my expertise, but I like to get it right. I don't like to get on the radio and say anything stupid. If you think I do, you're not listening closely. I try to get it right. If I'm wrong, you know where to find me. Because you can't find the trolls. They never come out. You know where to find me. I'm here every day. And, the last couple of years, I don't predict games for a living, thank God. I don't guess and predict games. But for the last 4 or 5 years, there's been a lot that's gone wrong in the Raiderverse. Coaches getting fired, players getting fired, players getting cut. All you want to do is see the coaches win and keep their jobs and the players to be here and build the team. But it doesn't happen that way. It's a big boy radio show. We have to say goodbye to people. I got a text today from the Combine from a former Raider executive saying, I can't wait to see you next time. Where are you here? I said, no, I typically don't do the Combine. He said, shucks, I would have loved to get a beer with you. Why? Because we had a good friendship. Keep your friends close and talk to people in the business here and find out what's happening. So today, the big topic for me is what Clint Kubiak said yesterday to the assembled local media about the Raiders going to a 3-4 base defense. Wow, that's a big topic. That's a huge topic. And before we begin, let's play the sound. This is yesterday, the Kubiak base defense that they could be running going forward.
I do see us being a base 3-4 team. See us being able to play 4 down as well. I think Robbie can be very multiple with his fronts. Obviously coming from working with Mike, working in Miami with Flores, he's got a lot of really impressive influences. But he also has, he has his own identity as well. So, we're getting to work on that part of the puzzle right now. And talking personnel this time of year, but I'm really excited about it. Really more of the person more than anything. Just from his background in Baltimore, he's been in a lot of schemes, but he has a concise vision on who he wants to be. But as we get into free agency and the draft, and who our players are and what they do best, that's what we're going to eventually evolve to. But you got to have a starting point, and that starting point to me would be a base 3-4.
Wow, a base 3-4. So when I heard that, 2 things jumped out at me, just 2. The first thing is we don't have the guys now to run a 3-4 other than Max. What you need in order to run a 3-4, you need an elite defensive tackle in the middle or blow it up. You can't do it. I've been watching football for 50 years. Okay, talking about it 30 years. I've seen the 3-4 and the 4-3. I like the 4-3 traditionally because I like 2 outside edge rushers. Max is great. Everybody else is a question mark. And then hopefully you get a good defensive tackle. And I like the 4 getting after the quarterback and not blitzing and letting the 3 linebackers do well. But we haven't had many linebackers around here in a while that can cover. We don't have many linebackers around here who are like 24 years old who are going to the Pro Bowl. Do you know of any? I don't. So we don't have the personnel to do that. So if the base is that, I'm good with it. I'm good with everything the coaches decide. I'm not a coach. But I'm asking you today, this is a really important question. I typically don't do question and answer radio. I give you topics, and I'd like you to react. Are you good with the 3-4 base? Or are you not good with it? And if you're not good with it, I'm good with that. If you got Greg Townsend and Howie Long, and you're running a 4-3 or a 3-4, Howie's in the Hall of Fame. Townsend should be in the Hall of Fame. You can get away with running a 3-4 or a 4-3. And as Coach Kubiak said, they're going to give you a lot of different looks and be multiple and do that. So whatever they do, I'm good with. Remember, whatever they decide to do, from Pete Carroll to Clint Kubiak to John Gruden, I'm good with. I'm not there to be a roadblock. I'd just like to know a little bit more about it. And that's why I'm asking you in the Raider Nation today, some of you diehards who have been around the block a little bit and remember some of the names of the 4-3 and the 3-4, what you'd like to see. Comfortably for me is the 4-3. I'm more comfortable with the 4-3. My ultimate 4-3 or 3-4 is having Lawrence Taylor on the edge. Lawrence Taylor lining up at defensive end, or LT lining up at linebacker and blitzing off the edge. We don't have LT. Sorry, but we got something close. We do. Max Crosby, if he played on those Giant teams and went back in the hot tub time machine and played with LT and the Giants, he would have been getting rings. He would have been on those teams getting rings. We don't have the personnel to run 4-3 or 3-4 well today. But we're going to have free agency and we're going to have the draft. So pretty good topic to start it off at 702-365-9200. If you held me accountable, which I hope you do, and said, what do I like? I personally like the 4-3 because I think the linebackers, 3 across are fine for me. You could even go and take a linebacker off the field and bring in a nickel back. You can bring in a dime corner. You can do that and have an extra. A lot of young fans, right, who play Madden. A lot of you young guys, and we want some more young men and women to come in. You grow up on Madden where they're blitzing on every play. You didn't get the video game to just stay in a base 4-3. You got the video game to blitz everybody and to get after the quarterback. But when I look at this thing overall, I'm just wondering what you think works best. And we're getting Levi here in a few minutes. And I'm just texting him quickly. I can do multiple things at the same time. What do you like more as a Raider fan or a football fan? Remember, this show's bigger than Raider fans, totally. We want fans from all over. Anybody who can hear my voice, I want to hear you. I like the 4-3, but I'm comfortable with Clint Kubiak and Robbie Leonard if they put the 3-4 in. But then we're going to have to interview him and ask why. Yeah, and the coach wasn't going to give too much. He said, look, he hopes to be a base 3-4. Clay, I know you talked about it on your show today, and you had the pulse of the Raider Nation. What did most fans say on this topic?
We don't have the personnel to run a 3-4 effectively.
Okay.
And you better start finding that Vita Vea, which is just as rare as a Lawrence Taylor, to go and be that massive nose tackle. So maybe it gives you a hint of what they want to do and where they want to spend that money on defense.
Yeah, good clue. Clay Baker found a clue that, maybe they want to go big on defensive tackle. God, how did Christian Wilkins screw this up? What the hell did he do to our team? What did he do? He was a Pro Bowler. He was great on the Dolphins, not good. We give him all this money, and the next thing you know, he's acting like a fool. No one wants him now around the league. He's begging for a job. We have the right to fight for that money and get it back because he just wasn't, he wasn't what we expected, right? So he's gone, but that's the guy we wanted. You remember when he got the gig, we interviewed him? Oh, you're going to play alongside Max? Christian Wilkins and Max Crosby? Man, it was a good idea. It was a really good idea. It didn't work. People got fired over that move. So now we got to go find a better Christian Wilkins. Where are you going to find that? Where? Well, where is that? Oh, you're going to get him in college? Oh, you're going to got some guy from Texas Tech like Tyree Wilson? How'd that work out? What are you going to do? You got to go buy him in free agency. You got to go pay for it if you want someone that elite, or if you want to develop them because you're a fan and you believe that, you're going to go out there and, hey, okay, we're going to get this guy. He's going to play defensive tackle out of Miami or Ohio State, and he's going to be good. Let me tell you something really quick for you, some people that don't know the name. You should. Darrell Russell. Darrell Russell came to this team and went to the Pro Bowl his first 2 years before he passed away unexpectedly. Oh, my God, he was great. I was there for that. I had a front row seat for Darrell Russell at training camp, the games. He was unstoppable. Do you know who was one of the greatest Raiders to ever live, and you don't like him? A guy by the name of Warren Sapp. Warren Sapp played for the Raiders. He's known for being a Buccaneer. He played for the Raiders. He was good when he played for the Raiders. Don't shame Warren Sapp when he was with the Raiders. He played his ass off. He's a Hall of Famer. He did not take plays off. No one said at the end, oh, my God, Warren Sapp, what a disaster. How do we get rid of him? He's a bum. No, he wasn't. I was there for it. I was the sideline reporter. Warren Sapp was good. I'll give you another one. He's the owner of the team. He's a minority owner. Remember Richard Seymour? Oh, my God, was that guy good. Richard Seymour's in the Hall of Fame. Go ask Richard Seymour what the Raiders mean to him. He's a part owner of the Raiders. He was a good player. Remember Tommy Kelly? Good player, defensive tackle. Right? You know who's one of my favorite that I loved? And I know old school Raider Nation are going to say it before me. Remember Grady Jackson? He was a member of the Black Hole. Grady literally drank with the Black Hole. He was really good. And there's a whole bunch of other ones that we can go down the list of who played nose tackle, defensive tackle, and can play the position. So when you look at everybody that was available and who was able to play, as Clay said, the personnel is not in the building yet. I mean, I like Adam Butler. Adam Butler is not a Pro Bowler right now, right? You look at some of the players that were drafted. I mean, God, how many defensive tackles have we swung and missed on over the last couple of years? Did we get their name right in the draft? Did we get the right guy? And they're no longer with the team. That's happened a bit too. So we got to figure out what's happening and what's going on, because I'm good with the 3-4 if Robbie Leonard says, no, we're good. And this is one thing that's kind of interesting. I am going to ask Max Crosby. I'm with Max tomorrow night. So I'll be the MC of the Commitment to Excellence Awards for the steering committee. Hope you're going. We offered you all the opportunity to go. It's going to be fun. Max will be there with Rachel, his wife. That's one thing I'll ask Max. I'll go, what do you think of the 3-4 compared to the 4-3? And let you know about that. Because I'm not going to ask him if he's staying or leaving or that, because you don't do that when someone's having an event. You don't talk sports with guys who are there with their wives and going to get an award. But I'm going to ask him that one. That's going to get in. Do you like the 3-4 or 4-3? What do you think is the best fit for your game? And I'll let you know what he says. And that's where we are. That's the monologue brought to you by Modelo, the fighting spirit of Modelo, proud partner of our show. As we get it going, Levi Edwards is going to join us in a minute, and I'm excited to talk to him. And then Wasted Talent will join us in the next hour. Blind Mike in Philly. Thanks for calling in, Mike. What's going on?
Hey, what's up, man? How you doing?
Good. What's going on?
How you doing? What's up, man? I was thinking about, like, when it comes to this defense, it's weird because I was thinking about, like, the way you guys need to set up stop. Good. Like Nick, the way Nick Fangio would, like, head up, like, Kansas City, he blitzed them, like, they went crazy. They didn't have to send, like, 8 linebackers. They sent, like, 3 people, and that was it. And that's why my point, like, you guys need to get, like, stop, like, stop, like, do it right. Okay, like, send, like, 3 linemen at the line scrimmage. Okay, you do the line scrimmage. Okay, we all have football as a scrimmage, right?
Mike, you don't have a good phone line, Mike. I got to go. I appreciate it. The phone line was cutting in and out. I apologize for that. But I got most of what you had to say. Rush 3 and get home. You can't in the NFL. Normally, you can't rush 3 without blitzing linebackers. The 3-4 is predicated on roving linebackers who are able to do that. Okay, so everyone knows how the 3-4 works. That's 3 down linemen, 4 linebackers. One of the linebackers better bring pressure because you got 4 of them, and one of them better be coming off the edge or coming through the inside. I'm good with that if you got good linebackers. If you don't have great linebackers, it's hard to do that. And as we're going forward with Max Crosby on this team. Max Crosby is an elite edge rusher, absolutely elite. So if he's elite and he gets double teamed because it's a 3-4, you see how often Max gets triple teamed already? That's in a 4-3. What do you think they're going to do? They don't have to triple team him in a 3-4. Well, they'll just chip him and maybe a little bit of a double. But there's something, as Clay pointed out, and I want to say there's something to this conversation. For Clint Kubiak to tell our media that they want to be a base 3-4, that's a clue. That's a big clue to what they want to do. They're telling you exactly what they're trying to do. They're trying to get better linebackers, which I've been screaming for quite some time. Oh, Phil Villapiano's birthday. Phil Villapiano. That was a great linebacker for the Raiders. Great linebacker for the Raiders. So do you like the 3-4? Do you want to stick with the 4-3? It doesn't matter what you think or I think. They're going to run what they want to. And the coach told us it'll be predicated mostly on a 3-4 that will be able to evolve. It'll be able to evolve and do a little bit more. But you got to have when the Ravens had Rod Woodson, Ray Lewis, right? They had the players that they had up front, Tony Siragusa. They had really big boys, and Siragusa, who fell on Gannon, which was brutal. You got to have great players if you're going to run a 3-4. You got to really do. You got to have a space eater defensive tackle that demands a double team. And we really don't have that around here. We were supposed to have it with Christian Wilkins, and he flamed out, and he imploded, and he was supposed to be the guy that demanded the double team and could still actually get to the quarterback. and that thing fell apart. Let me get to Joe in Brooklyn, if we can do Joe. Joe, what's happening?
What's up, JT?
Hey,
Good,
Joe.
great talking to you. Listen, I like the 3-4. It's an identity. All right, we hired Robbie Leonard, first-time defense coordinator. You know, maybe with a little input with Clint. Came up. You know, this is what he wants to run. Listen, there's a plan in place. Spy Tech, Robbie Leonard, free agency, the draft. Okay, let's get the pieces in place. But like Clay said, they're going to need linebackers.
Mhm.
But I think the plan is to get some really good linebackers. We don't need 4 studs right away.
Mhm.
Maybe we bring 2 in free agency. We draft 2. Maybe he likes the 2 kids we have, Lindenberg and Eichenberg. I mean, we don't really know yet, but there is a plan in place. And, as a Raider fan, let's be happy with that. But, I like the 3-4. And like I said, it's going to be multiple,
It'll be multiple.
defenses. But, good start. Listen, this is what Robbie wants. Let's let him roll with it. We'll get the players in there. I'm not worried.
Yeah, I'm not worried either. I hope I'm not giving you the impression that I'm worried. I'm not worried at all. I'm just a sports talk host looking for topics. And this is a pretty important topic to me. The base 3-4 or the 4-3, and it sounds like they're going to the 3-4, and they're supposed to be ready for that, and they got to get players. So is that going to change the way they draft? Yeah, Clay, I think that could have an aspect on a free agent and the way they draft if they're going to run a 3-4.
It could be the most integral part of that defense, and maybe their biggest pickup in free agency, or maybe that's the number 2. That's their second round pick. Maybe that's somebody they trade up into the first round to get.
Yeah,
because they're premium. Every team wants one.
Yeah, I think the other big part, as we all know from talking to all our insiders, and Levi Edwards will join us in a moment, that the linebackers are strong in this draft. I got my list of drafts. Our lads guide's coming to me pretty quick here. It's supposed to be a pretty decent draft at linebacker, interior defense and interior offensive line, and wide receiver. It's not a great quarterback draft. Thank God Mendoza's going 1, because this ain't a great quarterback draft. Next year it's going to be. But we get the best quarterback in this draft to open it up. 702-365-9200 is the number as we continue on. Let's keep it going here. Appreciate the good start to the show. Raider T is in the creek, Walnut Creek.
Hey, thanks for taking my call, Brick.
Yep.
I got to tell you, I'm glad you're talking about this topic, because when I heard this yesterday, I was very intrigued.
Mhm.
This is a big deal, right? Because I'm a 4-3 guy because the Raiders have historically been a 4-3 the majority of the time. However, I think that they definitely have pieces in place and they can transition into a 3-4. I think the biggest thing they're going to need to do is get a nose tackle and some linebackers. One of the things you just asked was if this changed the way they draft. 100%. I've been doing mock drafts for 2 weeks now, and I was looking at it as a 4-3 and looking for a typical edge rusher. It's completely different. It's like night and day what they're going to look for. I think there's players out there that could fit in that role for them. I think there's tons of linebackers all over the place that I like in this draft. And I think the key thing is, number one, you're going to have to get the guy in the middle. Have pieces to play the edge, right? Tyree Wilson can play the edge. It actually might suit his skill set better being an edge in a 3-4 versus what he's doing right now. Thomas Booker, that's a dude that can play edge in a 3-4. So I think they've got pieces. The biggest hole they're missing is the nose tackle. In terms of Max, I think Max can fit in a 4-3 or a 3-4. The most intriguing part is, are they doing this because they're planning on moving on from him, or do they think this can actually cut him loose and give him some more freedom? Because typically on a 3-4, you got one end lined up on a tackle, the other end lined up on the other tackle, and the nose in the middle. So if you have the right tackle occupied by Tyree Wilson, for example, and then you've got Max off the edge, like kind of what Pittsburgh does with T.J. Watt, it actually might free him up where he's matched up against tight ends, and he's coming against that. So I don't know. It might actually help him, but I'm curious to see what their plans are with Max with this move. I think that's the big intriguing part of this whole thing. What is the plan with Max?
Yeah, well, we got to assume today, as the show is live today, thanks for the call, we have to assume that Max is going to be here. That's always been my assumption. We're not here to say he's leaving and then they're doing that. So if Max, who I expect to be here, who he's under contract, If it's a 3-4 and you're not blitzing a linebacker, it's 3 against 5. And if you leave in a fullback or a running back, it's 3 against 6. Or how about you leave in a tight end and you chip Max also? If you're not rushing just 3, you got to rush 4. Where are the linebackers? Had some pretty good linebackers. I think Devin White played well. He wasn't elite. He's getting older. You can put him in and be pretty cool that he's going to make a tackle or make a play. He's going to miss on a play or two. If you want to run a 3-4, man, the goal is to have, out of the 4 linebackers, 3 of them are dogs. 3 of them are absolute animals who are good in coverage. We don't do that. Oh, we're one of the worst teams in football at covering a tight end. See my DVD on not guarding Travis Kelce for a decade. You need guys that can cover, go sideline to sideline. I grew up in the era of sideline to sideline linebackers who could go from one end of the field to the other and make a tackle. We don't have that around here much. And the only way to do that is you got to get younger, faster, and you got to find, they don't have to be from great schools. I want to get that point out too. You don't have to find someone from a great school. You can find someone from Toledo that's a linebacker and he led his conference in tackles and he knows how to sniff out the ball. Bring him to the Raiders. I don't care where he went to school. But normally that elite linebacker, you look at Alabama. Remember Rolando McClain, how big of a prospect and athlete he was? God, was he a beautiful athlete. But, he wasn't a great player in the NFL. He's a great player in college. Mike in Hawaii. Aloha, Mike. What's happening?
Hey, aloha, JT. Just want to make a quick point. I'm very intrigued by this as well because I think me and a lot of other seasoned Raider fans, we've been disappointed by neglecting the linebacker position. And you're right about Rolando McClain. He didn't work out. But traditionally, we do not take a lot of linebackers high. I think the last one I was moved on was Kurt Morrison. I love Drake Beaker going way back in the day. But I think this could be a nice change because if you look to change your future, well, you got to look at what you haven't been doing in the past. Yeah. You haven't been valuing linebacker position. So I think this could be very intriguing. And other quick point is I think Clay nailed it. I think Vita Vea is a very intriguing a guy to bring in. Yeah, he's a little older, but we might get him at a better value now. He played for Tampa, might know Spytech.
He does.
So I think we bring in Vita Vea. And then lastly, the draft. I've been looking at CJ Allen. He might be available at the top of round 2, although I know we got to prioritize offensive line. So thank you, JT. Have a great day.
Yeah, I appreciate that. The one thing I don't want to see, and whatever has to see, look, I don't know what to tell you on everybody who's available in age. The Raiders want to get younger. They have a lot of people on the payroll who are called scouts and executives, GM, that are supposed to find, and they're working their ass off to find younger, more athletic football players who can tackle and catch the football. You don't have to tackle on offense unless there's an interception. Catch the ball. And if you're on defense, tackle someone. And the 3-4 is kind of cool if you got the guys who can do it. But we don't have them today. And that could change the way the draft looks. All right, 702-365-9200. The monologue brought to you by Finley Volvo, Las Vegas. I think everybody needs to relook at their vehicles. I always do. I got 2 young boys. I got a wife. Every couple of years, we switch out our cars because we want to try other cars. Oh, my God, if you try a Volvo and test drive it over there on the 215 and Rainbow, it's going to blow you away. You won't believe how safe you'll be. You won't believe what the new cars look like, the EVs. I mean, I don't pay for gas anymore. I'm not saying that's a bad thing for you. I don't pay for gas anymore. Me, I'm out. I moved to Vegas to get rid of my state taxes, and I don't pay for gas in California. Never will. Okay? Not saying it. You can drive whatever you want. Finley Volvo Las Vegas has the vehicle waiting for you. The EV vehicle, the gas vehicle, whatever you want, Mike will find something for you. I promise you. Go check him out. It's right off the 215. I go back and forth from it a couple of times a day. When we come back, Levi Edwards will join us live from the Combine. He'll be at the studio set that Q has set up. We'll do that, and then Wasted Talent will join us next hour. We'll get him up. He's always good to have on. But a good day on the phones. Also, we got rugby in town. NRL, we had a rugby player, Max King, in studio yesterday. What a nice gentleman he was. Fantastic to talk to him. I got a big weekend. Friday night is Max Crosby, Commitment to Excellence. Saturday, I'm going to rugby. And Sunday night, I'm going to Reggie Jackson's gala. I'm excited. All right.
Necessary roughness.
He literally is going into year.
Levi's running late.
Man, I sure can't wait till they start to use Michael Mayer. He could be utilized in a major way. He also could be used as a pass catcher, something we've been screaming from the mountaintops. 12 personnel. 12 personnel for Raider Nation has been like Bigfoot. Nobody's ever seen Bigfoot. That's what 12 personnel has been for the Raiders. We hear about all the great stories and all the great tales and how fantastic it can be, but none of us have ever seen it.
Don't miss Unnecessary Roughness, weekdays at 2.
Big news, Las Vegas.
So,
These taverns
Clay,
just
you're
changed the
connected
game.
to the set?
Introducing all new progressive jackpots
Yep.
linked across 65 PT's Taverns locations.
take a little
We're
bit.
talking both dollar and quarter progressives that hit on royal flushes and 4 aces with a kicker. Plus Keno progressives that hit on 7 and 9 spots.
And here's the best part.
Our 10-spot Keno progressive pays up to $200,000. All progressives exclusively available at PT's Taverns.
Video poker links may vary between taverns. Check with your tavern bar host for details.
All right, what's going on? We got a nice crowd in here today. Thanks to the YouTubers. Yo, Wasted. That VGK win. Clay, do we got a goal from VGK? Can we come back with one, please? Do you have one? I watched that whole game, pretty much that whole game. That was a really good hockey game, man. I'm just happy Vegas didn't go to overtime. I would have sucked.
Online at FinleyCadillac.com to place your reservation. If you're thinking Cadillac, think Finley Cadillac in the Valley Auto Mall.
The truckers are
Yeah, Vegas. Last night, the Vegas Golden Knights won without 5 Olympians who didn't play. 5 players who were in the Olympics, and they beat the Kings. That's impressive.
And amendments to full suspension upgrade. We have everything you need.
Power Shift by NV Energy is all about taking savings to the next level. Check it out. These products and services save energy and money. There are discounts and rebates on energy-efficient devices and free smart thermostats. Take savings to the next level at nvenergy.com/PowerShift. PowerShift by NV Energy. This is what we do.
Whether you're a first-time buyer or looking for your next home, if you work in healthcare, education, law enforcement, or construction, this could be your key to home ownership. Don't wait. Visit onenevada.org today.
Membership required. Loan subject to credit approval. Program eligibility and terms apply. Equal housing lender.
You won't believe everything I just saw. I went to Disneyland, and it was the 70th celebration. First, I went to Mickey Mouse Clubhouse Live, and I danced with Goofy. At night, I saw this parade, and everything was glowing. Sorcerer Mickey was there, and Lightning McQueen. Oh, then I went to this giant water show with all the Inside Out characters.
Anybody watching NBA? I watched some good NBA games last night, man. Good NBA games. Detroit just trounced OKC, but OKC didn't have Chet Holmgren and SGA. So how do you say a team won when they don't play teams?
With Paint the Night Parade, World of Color Happiness, and Bluey's Best Day Ever. Coming soon. Save with Good Neighbor Hotel packages starting at $164 per person per night on select days through March 31st, 2026. For a party of 4 adults, including 2-day, 1 park per day tickets and a 3-night stay at a select Good Neighbor Hotel in a deluxe room. Total price $1,960. Visit Disneyland.com/Good Neighbor Hotels for details.
Welcome back to the JT the Brick Show, brought to you by Modelo Especial, the new #1 beer in the U.S.
Clyfield check by Hurdle. 30 seconds to go. Knight's got the puck. Hurdle coming ahead. Hurdle out to center. Hurdle to the red line. Passing. Barbashev shoots and scores. 26 seconds left. Barbashev ices the game.
That was a great hockey game last night. Dan Duva on the call. Vegas Golden Knights won the game last night without 5 members of the Olympic team. Let that sink in, everybody. Last night, the game was on TNT nationally. Vegas won 6-4, and it was too close because they came back. They had a 5-3 lead. They gave up another late goal, which they do. They gave up another late goal, and then they got an empty net goal. They didn't have Jack Eichel, Mark Stone, Mitch Marner, Shea Theodore, Noah Hannafin. They're all in the Olympics. On the Olympics. They didn't have William Karlsson, Brett Howden, and they won. That's how loaded this team is. 5 Olympians didn't play. Gold and silver medalist, and they went out there and were able to win the game. And that's crazy. I got a pretty good text back from a former player, not Raider. I asked, what do you like, the 3-4 or the 4-3? He said, 4-3 for sure. They should just copy Houston's defense entire game plan. Oh, yeah. I mean, but Houston's got better players. They got multiple edge rushers on Houston and some pretty good linebackers, obviously. 702-365-9200 as we continue. Here's Scott in Vegas on 920. Hello, Scott.
Hey, how you doing, JT?
Good, Scott. Thank you.
So my big thing is,
Scott, turn the radio down, please. You're on the radio. Turn it down and just talk. Go ahead.
Yeah. So every time that you switch schemes, we need 280-pound defensive ends, you know, more of the J.J. Watt, kind of not the T.J. Watt look. And our defensive ends aren't that heavy. So we're going to have to take a step back. The one thing that I really like, though, is we got Laki Toxie in the house. That guy's 6'6", 353. That should be our nose. We should try him at that. He's our international player. But I think we're going to take a little step back.
Well, what do you mean try him? Well, you want to take an international player who's a project and played well? And try him at what? To play? Like to start and
nose. Play him at the nose.
Play him what? In practice in the preseason? I'm talking about games. I think he's a good guy to build around, but I mean, he's kind of a projected player. He's not Vita Vea or someone around the league who's just a great inside nose tackle. You got to have better players than that, right?
I totally agree. And we're hurting on so many fronts. We don't have starting defensive line other than Max Crosby. So we're going to have to be taking some steps back. I think he's a piece that could fit in because what you're looking for is people that can move the line of scrimmage 1 yard deep, take on the double teams, and we don't have defensive ends that are that heavy and that big, and we don't have a nose guard that can do that either. So I think that looking inside the building, because we only have the 10 draft picks, maybe that's a start for us. Maybe that's why they're heading this way.
Thanks for the call. I think you're right. I think they're going in that direction. I think they're trying to change up the scheme on defense. The coach told you a little bit about it. It's calculated. He's a sharp guy. He's not saying they're going to be married to it, but you got to have the players to do it. I mean, you got to scratch your head saying, what the hell were we doing around here the last 4 or 5 years that we really have no one who can do this other than Max? I mean, it's been some nice players who've done an okay job, but you got to say to yourself, what happened to Malcolm Kuntz? We drafted Tyree Wilson way too high. You start adding up Malcolm Kuntz's injury and him not really coming out of it last year. You start looking at Tyree Wilson, who's not a first round pick, not at all. That's not a reach. And then you look at the Christian Wilkins money that he was given to be a bust, a personal bust. Those are some big mistakes that John Spytek is trying to clean up with this new group of scouts. That's why I'm rooting so hard for him. Because there's a new group of coaches coming in here. Clint Kubiak is not to blame for Tyree Wilson underachieving. Clint Kubiak has never coached Malcolm Kuntz and might not. So Clint Kubiak, I think, understands they need a whole bunch of players. They need a whole bunch of players that they can mix and match. And free agency, I'm looking to spend a lot of the free agent money on the offensive line. Right? Defense is going to be great, but I think linebacker. Maybe Clay, the hint to all this is that the Raiders got to get in the first 4 picks, they got to get 2 starting linebackers. And I'm not talking about Tommy Eichenberg and some other guys that they brought in. I'm talking guys who are going to come who are 22 years old, ripped, crazy, got an edge to them. Maybe that's the ship, man. We're going to run a 3-4. We're going to get some new linebackers in here.
Savages would be good. Getting guys who are agile and can not only control the line of scrimmage, but can be a problem in pass coverage. And I think that is complete opposite of what we saw last year out of the linebacking crew that played. I think the Eichenberg and even Lindbergh probably be given a shot to do that, but you still got to get more depth.
Got to get more depth. Here's Stanley in San Francisco, where I just were a couple of weeks ago. What's going on, Stanley?
JT, what's going on? I was glad to hear you had a great time at Grayton on Super Bowl Sunday with all those Hall of Famers. I grew up in Santa Rosa, 10 minutes north, and where the Raiders actually used to hold their training camp back in the day before Napa.
I tell you, it was great. The Grayton Casino was as big as any casino I've ever been to in Vegas. I'm dead serious. It was a monster, and they were doing a billion with a B, $1 billion expansion. I didn't know that something that big existed anywhere in the Bay Area.
Yeah, no, it's pretty awesome. I'm buddies with the head of security, who we all went to the same high school as Brandon Hyde, the former manager of the Orioles. And they've done a lot of great stuff for the community too. They donated a $50 million gymnasium to Rancho Cotati High School right there too. It's a D1 college style gymnasium that they got. But as far as the 4-3 versus the 3-4, I think this iteration of the modern NFL is definitely, you got to go 4-3 big nickel. I think it's a lighter defense. It's a faster defense. It's better in coverage. I think the way of those amazing, Ravens, Steelers, Patriots defenses of the 2000s, the 3-4, I think that's the way of the past right now. It's the way the NFL is going. And also it's a more expensive defense. If you think about it, when you're running the 3-4, the 3 interior linemen are pretty expensive. Those 2 edge rushers are going to be expensive as opposed to that third linebacker or the third corner and the nickel. So I think the 4-3, to your big point that sticks to you, if you look at the Texans, you look at the Seahawks, those are really light, versatile defenses that are better in pass coverage in the modern NFL. So I think that's the way to go. But anyway, thanks for taking my call. Great talking to you.
Yeah, I would be more comfortable with the 4-3, but Robbie Leonard, if he wants to go 3-4, and maybe Coach Kubiak is saying, I'd rather have a 3-4. And if that's his choice, great. Let's get behind it. But it's going to be interesting to see how they add the players. You got to add players. You got to go get players that can fit into a system. I'm a big believer that, football players are supposed to be able to play without covering them up. Where you have to cover up for your football player because he has a weakness. He's a linebacker and he can't guard the pass. He's a defensive tackle and he can't get to the quarterback. He's a run stuffer, but he can't rush. What's going on? You're in the pros. Can't you do it all? That's why Greg Townsend was coming to the Commitment to Excellence Awards. That's why Townsend was great. He was predominantly an edge rusher, but he was a football player. Oh, God, man, I can't believe what I'm thinking here. I despise the nickel back and the dime back who can't play corner. I like the corner who plays corner. He plays bump and run. Nnamdi Asomugha. Hey, Nnamdi, play zone. Okay. Hey, Nnamdi, we need you to play up and bump and run, put your hands on someone. Okay. Why is that so hard? Why do we have all these specialty guys? Clay, we have it in baseball. They're called middle relievers. Okay, they're not closers because they don't throw 100. And they're not starters because they don't have the ability to go 7 or 8 innings. But they can come in lefty on lefty and get you an out. And are we starting to see that in football where we're going to have a guy, a corner that we're going to bring in on 3rd down to play in the slot, but he can't play corner if we need him?
Yeah, that's a problem in college. They're not developing the outside corner in that manner. They're trying to win games in college so guys can keep their jobs and keep going. And you're not really developing that kind of bump and run corner and multi-variable corners. We used to have those all the time. You'd have to be, it was like back in Hollywood. You'd have to sing and dance and tell jokes. You had to do all that stuff. And now everyone's kind of like a one-trick pony on defense. And I don't like that. I don't like that specialty stuff.
Yeah. All right. We're waiting on Levi. Levi had a walk. It's hard to walk to the combine. Levi had to walk. You got to walk to the combine, man, in Indy. Levi's big time, but he doesn't have a limo. So we'll get him up here a little bit. Wasted talent next hour as we continue on. Boyd Gaming. Always bet on black. All the Boyd properties. I met Mr. Boyd back in the day when I was doing my Monday Night Football show at the Gold Coast. Man, we had big crowds, great prizes. It's fantastic. Always loved it. Boyd Gaming, proud partner of Raider Nation Radio, the legacy of the Boyd family here in Vegas. I will be right back. How about that? I will be right back.
This offseason, all this stuff he has to hit So the organization has to do everything in work to ensure he hits. Otherwise, the cycle just continues over and over and over and over and over. And him hitting does not necessarily mean being a top 5 quarterback at the end of the day. It means ensuring he is successful.
Good morning, tailgate. Days at 7 a.m. Big news, Las Vegas. Les Olson IT has moved to a bigger, better facility to serve you like never before. Our new space means more technology, more service, and more solutions, all designed with you in mind. Plus, we're hiring. If you're ready to grow with a company that values innovation and community, join our team today. Proud serving Las Vegas for 23 years and counting. Les Olson IT, your business better. Les Olson IT.
This is JT for Las Vegas's premier cigar lounge, La Casa Cigars and Lounge at Tivoli Village. You're going to be blown away like I was when I stepped into their walk-in humidor. Over 500 cigar labels to choose from. Plus, they feature one of the largest whiskey, scotch, and bourbon selections anywhere in the valley with live local entertainment 7 nights a week. Great place to watch football games. Check it out at lacasacigars.com.
Worried about your car payment? Don't be. Drive happy with a Westar Credit Union auto loan. Whether you are ready for something new or want to refinance your current ride, we've got you with affordable payments and easy approvals. Picture yourself behind the wheel, windows down, music up, on the road to what matters most. Apply today at westar.org or stop by your nearest branch. All loans are subject to approval. Terms and conditions apply. Must be a member to borrow. Membership requires a savings account with a minimum balance.
Hey, Jeff, how's the new job working out?
Really sucks. Terrible boss and the paycheck is even worse. I gotta get a new job.
Truck you.
Wait, what?
Truck you.
You don't have to curse at me.
Dude, you should check out Truck You CDL training. My brother got his CDL license in 4 weeks and now he has a new career making great money.
Okay, I'm listening.
Truck You offers small classes with night and weekend times available. They will even help with payment programs. Check them out. Truck, the letter U, LV.com. Truck You.
Boyd Gaming is the official and exclusive local casino partner of the Las Vegas Raiders and Allegiant Stadium. Bring your friends, have some fun, but always bet on black. Visit their 10 casinos across the valley. Don't let the game get out of hand. Please bet responsibly.
Hey, Las Vegas, are you tired of plumbing prices that break the bank? At 365 Plumbing, we're bringing fair pricing back. Family owned and operated. We treat your home like it's our own. For your everyday plumbing needs, we're here 365 days a year, rain or shine, day or night. Extend the life of your water heater right now. For a limited time, take advantage of our water heater flush special for only $26. Visit us at 365plummingnv.com. 365 Plumbing, because where the water flows, 365 Plumbing goes.
Modelo is an official cerveza of the Las Vegas Raiders and the JT the Brick Show. Modelo Especial is a rich, full-flavored Pilsner-style lager, delivering a crisp, refreshing taste, brewed with fighting spirit since 1925.
When it's time for a new AC and heating unit, don't just call anyone, call the boss. Maybe you have some plumbing projects around the house. Well, you need to call the boss. Boss Plumbing and HVAC is family owned and operated, serving Southern Nevada since 2015. There are no surprise costs or hourly rates. Get a totally free estimate with upfront pricing from AC repairs to leaky pipes. From water heater installations to tuning up your AC and heater, don't just call anyone, call the boss. Boss Plumbing and HVAC.com.
Australia's biggest sport hits Vegas. Rugby League Las Vegas, Saturday, February 28th at Allegiant Stadium. 3 games, Aussie vibes, 1 epic ticket. Plug in your seat now at nrl.com/Vegas. Rugby League Las Vegas. Let's go.
From birthdays to business meetings, or just because, Craze makes every moment delicious. Artful charcuterie.
Yeah, I'm not impressed with the Coke, the Dr. Pepper Zero. It's not very good. Why am I having it? Because that's my choice. I got to hydrate.
JT the Brick Show, brought to you by M Resort Spa and Casino, the official hotel of the Las Vegas Raiders.
Hurts. He's looking left. Pressure. Packets hit from behind. Crosby the sack. A coverage sack to say the least. He had time to throw as Crosby flies over to the Raiders sideline. His 10th sack of the year, and the Eagles are going to settle for a field goal opportunity.
All right, Jason Horowitz, great play-by-play, boys. Let's go to Levi Edwards, kind enough to join us live from Radio Row in Indy at the Combine. And Levi, let's begin. I'm a fan of the 4-3. I grew up with the 4-3. Clint Kubiak gave you and everyone else an indication that maybe 3-4 is the primary defense. Is that a good thing with the personnel the Raiders currently have?
I wouldn't necessarily. It's a good thing with the personnel that's in place now. I'm going to be honest with you. There's definitely a lot of things that need to adjust before they really kind of come out with that 3-4. However, it's not something that's necessarily foreign for the Raiders right now. They ran some 3-4 set here and there last year when they had Charles Snow, that outside linebacker, Tyree Wilson, kind of moving him inside and out. But in order for them to really accomplish what they need to get a real space heater at nose tackle. And you have a couple of really good ones at the combine here. I've seen Caleb Banks. He's a really good one. But when you look at the guys on the roster right now that can be that true space heater nose tackle, all you really have is two rookies. You have J.J. Pegues and you have Tonka Hemingway. So you got to figure that out. And also you got to figure out, that edge rusher, that outside linebacker off the edge. You got Max already, but you need to get another one that has wheels that can go, like just straight speed. And obviously, Malcolm Kuntz, we need to see how he returns to injury. And even if he does return to injury, will he return to the Raiders after signing a one-year deal? So there's a lot of things that still have to take place. I will be honest with you, JT. I'm also a big 4-3 guy. I played a 4-3 in high school. That's just kind of like my natural, base defense that I like to run with. But at the end of the day, a 3-4 can be very successful if you have the right pieces in place. And I think that the Raiders, with free agency, but also in this draft, I think they can find a couple more that could really help.
All right, Levi, I always believed if you have a Lawrence Taylor who's a linebacker but can play edge or off the edge, that's the greatest of all time. There's no one close. And then you can have other great outside linebackers. In order to run the 3-4, you need at least one superior outside linebacker. That would be correct?
Yeah, and it's a very unfortunate situation because there's about 3 or 4 amazing outside linebackers that are going to be in this year's draft. But they're all going to be gone in the first round, and we all believe that the Raiders are going to use their number 1 pick on Fernando Mendoza. So that kind of leaves you having to go in day 2 or day 3 to look for one of those other guys. But I could tell you right now, if the Raiders traded back up into the first round, some way, form, or fashion, there's 3 guys that I can think of that are going to be gone in the first round. That would be amazing 3-4 linebackers if they were able to get them.
Well, that's huge. That's huge. I'm sure you're going to be writing about that and talking about it because Raider Nation is desperate to know if we end up going 3-4, led by Robbie Leonard, that there's going to have to be multiple linebackers, and most of them who play that way are younger, more sideline to sideline type players, correct?
Yeah, this is correct, but you also need to make sure that you have somebody that can, go guns blazing off the line of scrimmage. And it really is hard to find someone that can do both pretty well. And even I think last year when we saw Max Crosby kind of like going back in coverage a few times off the line of scrimmage, and everybody was like, what the hell is going on? We might see a little bit more of that next year as well, just based upon the scheme. So it really is one of those things where we just need to buckle up, but not only just buckle up, but the Raiders are actually going to have to really get the right infrastructure in place to run that, because they have a few pieces in place right now to do it, but they're just going to need much, much more.
Levi Edwards is our guest. So tell us the positives and negatives with Max in a 3-4 or 4-3. We've seen Max predominantly in a 4-3, and he's getting chipped and double teamed. There's a tight end, there's a tackle, and at times there's a running back chipping him. If it's a 3-4, he's getting cracked by a tight end and a fullback or someone like that. That could be a problem here, but you'd probably be blitzing a linebacker or multiple linebackers in a 3-4 to enhance Max, right?
Yeah, no, that's exactly true. And like I was saying a couple of minutes ago, it's not necessarily foreign. There has been multiple times where Patrick Graham, when he was the defense coordinator for the Raiders, he liked to mix it up a whole lot and do a lot of different things. So it's not the first time Max is going to have been in a 3-4. He's been in those sets multiple times, even when he had Yannick Ngakoue, or when he had Chandler Jones, or even when the Patrick Graham was doing that NASCAR package a few years ago with like Tyree and Kuntz and all those guys, all 4 on the line. So, it's one of those things where he's not foreign to it, but he's definitely going to need some help from some other outside linebackers that are going to be able to rush the passer as well, but also have really good off-ball skills as well. So, the Raiders right now, they have a They have defensive ends who can rush the passer, and then they have off-ball linebackers that can, kind of stop the run, but they don't really have anyone necessarily right now that I see fit on the roster that can do both really well. And with Max, obviously coming back from, a knee injury, an ankle injury, is he still as fast as he used to be? We're yet to see, I think. But it'll be really interesting for sure.
Well, you mentioned Pegues and Tonka Hemingway. I mean, come on, they were just drafted. So if you have to go draft another Tonka and Pegues, what's the point? I mean, you got two of them there. One of them's got to stick. I'm not saying every down on a 3-4, but you better hope that one of those two guys are the right guy who's going to be there, because we've been drafted. How many times since you've been with the Raiders have the Raiders drafted defensive tackles that are out of the league and can't play? I mean, these two guys got to stick. And they just played a little bit last year because the former head coach wanted to play other players instead of the young players.
Well, I think that's the thing, too, is just not even necessarily the amount of defensive tackles that they've drafted, but just kind of like the model of the defensive tackle they've been drafting. They've been drafting a lot of three technique guys who are more predicated towards, pass rushing, and they haven't really necessarily been able to hit on a really good, just like space heater, generate double, triple team defensive tackle like that. Has always been kind of like that three technique, kind of like what Adam Butler is now. And I think Adam Butler is a great defensive tackle, and I think that he does a lot of good things. But at the same time, when you have a roster full of guys that have Adam Butler's skill set, then you're kind of opening yourself up to a lot of other things, wrong to happen, because you don't have that variety on your line. And so I think the Raiders really need to go after getting a lot more variety on their defensive line, instead of just having a couple of guys that can do, one thing really well and everybody does that, or having everybody do one thing, another thing that's really well, and not have that good mix of being able to stop the run and stop the pass.
Levi Edwards, as we wrap it up, you just came back from wave running in Miami, and now you're in Indy, and it's cold, and you just had to walk all the way to the combine there, the St. Elmo's. But I live in Vegas. I have 50 restaurants that are better than St. Elmo's, and great shrimp cocktail, unbelievable. Been there for basketball. My point is, how are you liking Indy? My son's hooking up with you tonight. He's on the ground. Is Indy fun? Do they open up the club tonight? Thursday, Friday night, the club, does that open? What's going on tonight, Levi?
I'm still trying to figure out the moves as we speak. Obviously, me and Lil Brick, we're going to link up and, we're going to have some fun. It's one of those things where I've had a couple of good nights, at Prime. There's a lot of really good places out here. Kilroy's is obviously always a move. High Velocity is always a move. So I've had a really good time out here. And I always tell people Indy's a really underrated city.
Ooh, underrated.
There's a couple of good things to do here. It's not it's not a Miami, it's not a Vegas, but it's a nice little Midwestern city with stuff to do. And the big thing that matters the most out of everything is that Indianapolis prices are it'll bring a tear to your eye. As someone that has to pay $20-$25 a cocktail on the Strip, and then you get to come to a place like Indy, and then you get a nice little, craft cocktail for $5, $10. Nice. It's amazing. It's a true blessing. So I'm taking advantage of that while I'm here more than anything, along with just being able to cover such an important draft for the Raiders.
Well, my son's there to work too, and I'm proud of him, as you know. So I'm buying a couple of rounds for both of you guys, for you coming on and for my son being at the Combine again for his second year. Thanks to Q for getting the set lined up for you, and we will talk to you when you get back. Safe travels.
Thank you. You heard it here first. All drinks on Lil Brick tonight.
Yes. I'm paying for a few tonight. He's got a good job. Thank you, Levi. He can pay for some of them too. And I think my son now has such a good job. He has a per diem. He's able to go out there and do that too. All right. Hour number 1 flew by. Hour number 2, wasted talent, is coming up, man. He's good, and he'll get right to the point. Where do you stand? Where do you stand on the 3-4 compared to a 4-3? What a topic today. Cool Breeze on the chat says, Max will be back. I like that. That's a T-shirt. Max will be back. I like that. Yes, Levi is a dude. No doubt about that. We'll come back on the other side. We'll hear from you. I like the 4-3. It's my comfort of defense, the 4-3 with 2 great edge rushers, but none of it's worked. None of it's worked, and John Spytek, Clint Kubiak, and Robbie Leonard are here to bring the Raiders back to greatness. So do whatever the hell you got to do to make this thing better.
Gambler's bonus hits again. On January 23rd, Kathy hit 4 kings, clearing her
All
Gambler's
right.
bonus 4-kind bingo card for
A
over
wasted talent here.
$7,000. Kathy hit big, and so can you with Gambler's
Double
bonus.
check
It's
where
why
I'm
you
getting
play
him.
the game.
From birthdays to business meetings, or just because, Gray's Craze makes every moment delicious. Artful charcuterie boards made fresh. Visit grayscraze.com. Celebrate everything. Call 702-605-6333. Gray's Craze Charcuterie.
Big news, Las Vegas. PT Stores just changed the game. Introducing all new progressive jackpots linked across 65 PT's Taverns locations. We're talking both dollar and quarter progressives that hit on Royal Flush.
Mute the mic for a second, Clay, and I got to talk. So,
in the city on time and on budget.
all right, friends.
72.com to find out
Let
about
me kick back in the chat here. Oh, handheld mic. So what do we got? What else is going on? We watching anything good? We watching any TV shows or movies? I am hydrating. Again, I'm very disappointed with the Dr. Pepper Zero Sugar. I like the diet Dr. Pepper, and someone didn't stack that. I don't drink soda. I'm not a soda guy, but we don't have any water bottles here. I'd love to have a Modelo. And Big D, I need to hydrate last night because I had a cigar. I had a cigar at 11 o'clock last night, which is not good. No bueno. Cigar at 11. Yes, cool. I love Love Story, JFK Jr. It's my wife's happy show. The life of Carolyn Bessette, and she looks exactly like Carolyn Bessette. Exactly. And John F. Kennedy Jr., the soundtrack's amazing. My wife downloaded the soundtrack. John F. Kennedy Jr. was the most handsome man we've ever seen. What I find fabulous about that show is John, and that was my nickname. I was born in 1965, and my grandmother would call me John because of John F. Kennedy Jr., who was also called John. And JFK Jr. would ride his bike, Clay, and he'd go into bars, park his bike, lock it up, and go into bars, and women would be like, what? And he couldn't even sit down without women coming by and shoving their phone numbers before cell phones, shoving their phone numbers in his in his pocket.
So you put him in the spokes of his bike?
It was incredible. The guy was incredible. The rap that he had. I do a big league weekend from time to time. Yeah, I'll do that. I can walk to the Las Vegas ballpark.
Call 877 Cars for Kids to reach your friendly live agent. Donation's super easy and your car can be picked up by tomorrow. Call now or go to carsforkids.org.
Nothing against, whatever happens, man. We should have Major League Baseball in Summerlin, man. It's just our ballpark, our minor league ballpark here is better than half of the MLB stadiums. Half of the cookie. You know how much nicer the Las Vegas ballpark is compared to where that dump the Rays play in? Someone posted a picture of the Rays. They put in a new roof or whatever. It's a dump. It's a dump.
Stay for details.
Wasted talent at 410.
Must be 18 goal.
No, Big D. What happened to JFK Jr. is he raced to get on a plane to go see his family, and with the fog, he wasn't a good enough pilot, and he didn't realize that he was flying the plane into the water at the end. He was disoriented. He couldn't read the controls, and multiple people died. He shouldn't have been flying to begin with. He was injured, and he should have had a private pilot.
Back in the old days, it's nothing that we say, it's what we do on the field. All the little things that win that have nothing to do with skiing.
And now, here's JT the Brick.
Good to have you, JT. And we're here with everybody. Clay Baker's here today. We just had Levi Edwards, Wasted Talent, will join us here in 10 minutes. 10 after, we'll take him to the bottom of the hour. We'll have a very nice discussion. There's a lot of news today that I want to get to. Not so much breaking news, but a lot of news. Adam Schefter, Ian Rappaport. Trades are starting to go down. And the Jets made a trade that could indicate what they're thinking of doing. So with everything that's going on, overall, the big story today is the Colts are granting Anthony Richardson permission to seek a trade. Anthony Richardson is a really good athlete. I mean, come on. If you were starting a flag football team in Dubai, Anthony Richardson would be your quarterback. He's incredible. I think the best athlete in all of football, number one, is Kyler Murray, because none of these football players could be the number one pick overall in baseball. He was. He's a great athlete. He's available. Tua costs too much money. Oh, my God, would Miami love someone to take Tua off them, but it's just too expensive. You can't move that overall. So I think Anthony Richardson could be a pretty good pick for a team. You know, that's the type of player, Clay, you love to go to the Niners and Kyle Shanahan like Darnold. Look at what happened to Darnold when they parked him with the 49ers. Can you imagine Anthony Richardson spending a year? Because Mac Jones has done that already. He should get a start. It's Brock Purdy's team. Can you imagine Kyle Shanahan working for a year with a player like that to just trying to coach him up?
It's the $1 million man. We will rebuild you. You know, we have the technology. Look at all the guys we have worked with, and we've rebuilt from the feet up. We can do the same to you, young Richardson, and make you complete 65 to 70%. That's the trust.
And who's going to go number 2 in the draft, right? If you like an edge rusher, because the first trade of the offseason, the Jets agreeing to send defensive end Jermaine Johnson to the Titans in exchange for DeAndre Sweat. And so that deal came out originally from Rich Sinimi. Now look at what the Jets are doing. The Jets are going to take an edge rusher with the second pick. They want Mendoza, but we get him. We get Mendoza. The Jets want him, but they can't get him. So DeAndre Sweat was a second-round pick of the Titans in 2024. He was only the 38th pick overall. That's a pretty big pick. He now heads to New York to be with Aaron Glenn. So Aaron Glenn gets someone else there. So the Jets, it's not official until the league year starts. You know, the trade cannot be processed until the start of the new league year. So why was this the biggest story today? Why? Because they're doing deals. Deals are now not official, but you can do them early. And you just park the deal and make it official when you have to. So the Jets and the Titans make a deal here because they both want to either clear space on defense or add a player. Field Yates said, when you look at these deals, because there's a lot of players out there, Jamon McCoy is one of the most talented players in the draft. Could he be a player available here? Teams will study his medical evaluation, but no on-field work for him this week. And I like what's happening now. Now we're going to start to get some combine news, but most of it is just rumors. Most of them are just rumors. Also, Adam Schefter said available, quarterback available, the Red Rifle, Andy Dalton. Clay, do you know that Andy Dalton ruined our season here in Vegas? Do you know if we would have beat Andy Dalton, we'd be 3-1? We lost to Andy Dalton and went to 2-2, and the wheels came off. And no one remembers because I do the pregame from the Torch. We're supposed to beat Andy Dalton by a lot. We lose. The team goes to 2-2. That was a 3-1 start. Season imploded.
And it started right away.
Yeah.
Very first drive, you could tell Raiders were in trouble.
He tore us up.
You couldn't imagine, like, the city was absolutely on fire coming off that win in Baltimore. And the fire and brimstone, all the fans walking across the bridge. It was a huge ceremony. I loved that day up until after the whistle blew at 1 o'clock.
That loss, there's a number of losses that have stayed with me over my career, but that loss to Carolina on that day really changed a lot of deals, really changed the way the rest of the season looked. I'm not looking at a lot of mock draft because the first pick overall is obviously going to be who? Fernando Mendoza. So if I'm going to start looking at mock drafts, I'm not looking at 3rd, 4th round, 5th round, because that player's not going to be there. There's a dirty little secret in the world of the combine and the draft. The player you think's going to be available is not. Unless you want Tom Brady in the 4th, 5th round, he'll be available in the 6th. You don't have the players available. And we got good news in Las Vegas. Flavor Flav, he came through again. The U.S. women's hockey team reportedly has accepted Flavor Flav's invite to She Got Game. It's a weekend here, where else? In Las Vegas. So they're going to figure out what's going to happen. There's a lot of people politically upset about stepping foot in D.C. in the old Oval. The 66-year-old rapper appeared to confirm the event and Team USA women's participation in a post on X today, announcing the event and using a picture of the women's hockey team in the graphic. That'll be July 16th to the 19th. It's going to be good, man. Clay, as you know, that's the heart of pool season, man.
Yeah, that's
hot.
It also combines with NBA Summer League.
Oh, yes.
And come on out for some anonymous fun, women's hockey team, because you can have the best time at the day clubs and at the NBA Summer League afterwards. There's plenty of parties on that tour.
Yeah, I know that Derek Stevens downtown at the Circus said he'd like to be involved in any way. I'm sure part of that's going to be Circus Swim. I guarantee it. Part of that will be, but man, we're still celebrating. We should be celebrating our Olympians that got gold. We should be celebrating everyone who participated in the Olympics. If you went to the Olympics and you didn't get a medal, we should celebrate you for what you've been able to do in representing the country. So that is a strong story here also as we get going. 702-365-9200 is the number if you want to get into. If you're looking for the topic so far today is, do you want to run the 3-4, which it seems like they're going in the 3-4, or do you like the 4-3, which historically is what we see around the league? Thor in Summerlin, Raider Nation Drinking Club. Go ahead.
JT, what's happening, my brother? It's been a minute.
Yeah, man, you've been out of town, man. Thor, you've been in the Bay. You're everywhere, man. What's going on? Henderson, you're in Summerlin, you're in the Bay. What's up?
Yeah, then and then like I've been sick, and then as soon as I feel better, I'm out running around acting a fool. I finally got my voice back, and I'm starting to talk again. And JT 3-4-4-3. Honestly, I really don't care. I think if we run 3-4, that means maybe we're trying to get quicker on D with more linebackers and things of that nature, and I like that. I like to be faster on offense and defense. But I don't want to whatever. The coach got to be the coach. I'm not the coach. That's my job. But don't necessarily like when coaches, and maybe this is just what they are hoping for. But I don't like when they're coming, when you come in and you're like, we're running this for sure. I want our personnel and what works best for them, players we have on G, to dictate what we do. So they, like you said, it might give us an indication of where they're going. They might have a plan of certain people they're trying to get in free agency and in the draft that are going to lean more toward a 3-4. And that's fine. Or they're just blowing smoke. Who knows?
Yeah.
But whatever we run, let's run it great and have the personnel to run that great. But I'm good with either. I just want to win. I want our defense to get back out there and represent, but we need to help them out, obviously. And I like speed on both sides. I think 3-4 leans more toward a speedy type of defense. Yep. Maybe a little lighter, but more fast. So I don't know, JT. Whatever.
You got it, my friend. Thank you so much. Appreciate you coming in. Thanks you. I just want to see what works. Like Thor said, what's going to win? We bring in Wasted Talent, the great content provider. And what a segue for you, man. How big was this 3-4-4-3 topic? What do you like?
I mean, I'm kind of at the estimation of where our personnel is. Like right now, being that we have so many free agents and we have so many, young guys that are going to have to be drafted, I'm a guy who really, really likes the 3-4. I always have. If you look at some of the more successful defenses throughout the last 20 years, they run a 3-4. Like the Seahawks really run a base 3-4, even though they're in sub packages like 77% of the time. I was doing a little research. The New England Patriots use a modified 3-4. New Orleans used a modified 3-4. In Dallas, shifted to a 3-4 as well. And some of the benefits for the 3-4 is just the fact that it allows superior versatility. And it allows you to disguise pressure, and it allows you to confuse quarterbacks. So to me, in a quarterback-driven league and being in the AFC West, I love the fact that we're switching to a 3-4.
Okay,
Love it.
so you like that. Well, what are your concerns about Max Crosby in a 3-4 compared to a 4-3?
I don't really have many concerns with Max. I know a lot of people are looking at him as like almost like that outside linebacker, rushing linebacker, but people forget that Max, even though he's not the biggest guy in the world, Max can play with his hand on the ground and be that 3-4 defensive end, because if he does nothing else better than most of the top defensive ends in the National Football League, he's a terrific tackler.
Yeah, he is.
Like Max is a dog. He's a great tackler. I think Max can either play, in a 2-point stance, or he can play with his hand on the ground in his defense. But I just think when you look at some of the guys that they have on the roster currently, right? I heard, you guys talking about Tyree Wilson earlier. I think that Tyree Wilson's skill set lines up with being a 3-4 defensive end.
Right.
He's got size. He can set the edge. He has a decent bull rush. And the thing with Tyree Wilson, I think a lot of people don't realize that, this is a big man who had a foot injury coming out of college. He was overdrafted, right? Like we can agree on that. But the thing is that I feel like Tyree Wilson hasn't really gotten. He's gotten the snaps, but he hasn't really had the best situation here with the Raiders because of the fact that he was drafted by one regime, then another regime comes in and they want to use him differently. He pretty much had like a redshirt year with us as a rookie because he was recovering from that foot injury. I just think that now going forward, if he's ever going to be successful with the Raiders, it's going to be as a 3-4 end because he's that kind of Justin Tuck kind of defensive end where he's a tweener. And I think this will really, really highlight his skill set.
Well, that's interesting. Wasted Talent joins us because I look at Tyree, man. I've been pulling hard for him. He came in, he was so gracious, and everybody liked him overall, and he hasn't played well. I mean, he's played well in spurts. He's supposed to be an elite Pro Bowler by now. Means drafted 7th overall. You're on a rookie deal. You're going to Pro Bowls. You're dominating. You're double digits and all that. That's not the case. What would lead you to believe that he's going to be here?
Look, if the Raiders could cut, they can cut bait, right?
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, them moving to a 3-4 defense, he's a guy that I would let him play his rookie deal out. Like to me, why not? Like there's to me, there's no reason to get rid of him. And this is the thing. Like everybody's looking forward to free agency, and people on my show, everybody brings up all these different free agents. It's hard to fill your roster out primarily just through the draft and just free agency. You have to keep some people on the roster. And we have so many free agents right now. And there are guys that are no-brainers like Ashton Jeanty and Brock, Max, and people like that, Tonka Hemingway, Keith, all the guys that were drafted last year. They're going to make this team. But you have to also, keep some of the guys like Tyree Wilson. You have to because the thing is when you start talking about bringing in free agents, a lot of these guys, might not want to play for Raiders. Or the Raiders might not like to me, it's better to develop the guys that you have in the building and try to get the most out of their skill set. And I don't think that the book is written on Tyree Wilson. I know a lot of people, a lot of people in my chat, they disagree with me, but I think that he's a very talented young man. I think that, he has elite size. He's 6'6", 275, big frame. He creates a mismatch against anyone. And you see the flashes of brilliance as the year goes on. I just really think that he's been in a situation that happens to teams that have a lot of turnover. You have one regime or one ideology and they have one plan for you. And then when you're constantly, firing coaches and GMs and stuff, you kind of get caught up in the mix. When you get a guy like a Max Crosby who was already established as a stud and a star in this league, they're probably going to shift what they do on defense, highlight his skill set. But when you're a guy like a Tyree Wilson who's really trying to catch on in the league, no one's going to, do anything differently to try to accentuate your skill set. You either got to, get down with what's going on or get kind of shifted and pushed to the side.
Right. Wasted Talent is our guest. He's fantastic. He's got good opinions. I agree with you. I wouldn't give Tyree a contract. I wouldn't pay him. I'd play it out unless he just explodes. And guess who tried to do that too? Malcolm Kuntz. He was supposed to be the guy about to get paid. He got injured. Injuries happened. He came back. He seemed to be tentative to me. Did not play anywhere near his expectations. That's a contract. I'm all for what you're saying. Guys under contract who still have upside that can be explosive. Raiders need those players. Don't get rid of them. But if you hold them to the end of their contract and get nothing for them, and they go somewhere else and play well, that stings, right? If you get a guy for 4 or 5 years and then you walk away and then he shows up on the Patriots or the Commanders or he's playing on the Lions, and the next thing you know, you're watching Monday Night Football and he's got 2 sacks.
Yeah, and that's happened a lot here.
Yeah, it has.
And it has. And to me, Tyree Wilson is definitely one of those guys that if you don't try to, to continue to pour into him, I think that's exactly what's going to happen with this guy.
Yeah,
I really, there are not too many people walking the planet with his assortment of size and talent. I really think that he was drafted in a scenario where, you have Josh McDaniels and Ziegler. They had a plan for him, and I think the plan has kind of gone off the rails since those gentlemen are not here anymore. And I just, when you start talking about Tyree Wilson, that's a different case than a guy like a Malcolm Kuntz, who we understand why Malcolm Kuntz is not playing the way we might have expected. And also, Malcolm Kuntz isn't a guy that you have as much invested in.
Mm-hmm.
Malcolm Kuntz is a lower round draft pick. Tyree Wilson is the top 10 pick. So to me, I'm going to let him play his contract out. I'm going to see what I get. And to be honest with you, if he doesn't show up this year, then the Raiders can't feel bad for him going somewhere else and being more successful, because they did everything they could.
Wasted talent joins us. I want you to listen to the soundbite from Coach Kubiak on the possibility of bringing in another running back.
Yeah, it is important. You got to find the right guy. And if you can find that guy, he becomes a big part of your offense. If they are harder to find. So that's the fun part right now, especially in the draft, is seeing who's available and who we can develop free agent wise as well. I love to play with a fullback, but you also want to play with your best 11. So we're gonna be on the lookout for one for sure. Definitely want to have a 2-man show there, guys that can share the load. It's a long season. You don't want to put all the carries and targets on one guy. So, right now we're identifying, guys that are available here in the draft, identifying free agents we might go after, looking at our own roster and seeing who can take that. But it is important that Genty has a wingman, and, it's probably not going to be just one guy. So that'll be really important to identify.
Wow. Well, Genty's going to have a wingman. Okay, that's big, because didn't we have a bunch of wingmen here, Dylan Lobby and other guys who couldn't do it? And if we get a wingman here, does he got to be really good, or is he a 6th-round draft pick that can spell Genty when he's having a rough day or getting hit too much behind the line of scrimmage? What'd you take from that soundbite?
I mean, what I take is that, some of the guys that we had in the building were not viable options to be backups. Dylan Lobby is a terrific young player. I like Dylan Lobby, but he's more of a special teamer. And when you start talking about a guy like a Zamir White, Zamir White has been given every single opportunity to be successful, and he hasn't been able to grab that brass ring. You have to have another running back. It doesn't matter whether you have Barry Sanders or whether Ashton Genty. You have to have a guy that can come in and give him a break. You have to have a guy that can be that change of pace guy. And there are a lot of free agents that are going to be available, and there are going to be a lot of guys in this draft that are going to be available. It's a guy that is a reliable, rotational kind of a back that's in Philly that's possibly going to be a free agent this year. And Kenneth Gainwell is a guy that I have my eyes on. Hopefully the Raiders can kick the tires on. And also a guy like Isaiah Pacheco from Kansas City. These are guys that are used to running in kind of a backfield where there's a dominant running back. And they come in and they give some good carries. They give good snaps. They get first down. They can catch the ball. And they don't really need a whole lot of carries to be successful. But I think in the National Football League, you have to have a dual threat kind of a situation, period. I mean, the way the game is played now, JC, a lot of times the way that I see football and the way you see football, back in the day, the way the physicality used to be, there were certain ways where guys can kind of beat every down kind of guys, right? You can have guys on the defense, and you can have like a corner that can play, and you don't have to take them out. And you don't have to, take defensive ends, defensive tackles out. I just think the way the game is played now, when you take a lot of the physicality out of the game, you have to have guys that are kind of more specialists, because you're not able, like back in the day, if you had a a safety that wasn't the best covering, most of the time he was the guy that can lay the hammer down. Guys like John Lynch, guys like Ronnie Lott, they were able to stay on the field because guess what? If you got ahead of them one play, they'll knock the crap out of you, and then a couple plays later, they're able to cover you because they hit you hard. Like now, the way the game is played, you have to have guys that come in and sell players, and you have to have those specialists. You got to have that third down back. You got to have that guy that can give you a break. I've always been really concerned about that when we talk about a guy like Genty. I don't want to see that kid get run into the ground early.
You're right, man. You nailed that, man. He got tattooed the entire year. You saw the numbers he put up after 50% of the time getting blasted behind the line of scrimmage, not even at the line of scrimmage. Did you ever think about it? Because I want to work on that project and find out what he could have done his rookie year. Like, what was the ceiling? We'll never know. His rookie year is gone. And all the hits he took and all the plays that were no gain, and he still put up decent numbers as a rookie.
Yeah, if he would have just had a decent offensive line, I think he could have 1,400 yards.
Yes, yeah,
I really do. He is. There are so many people out there that say, "Oh, we should have taken this person and that person." You don't draft a running back. I'm like, listen, football has not evolved to the point where you don't need a terrific running. Like, I don't know where people get this idea where if you draft a running back high and you have a terrific running back, that somehow you're doing a disservice to your organization. Like when you talk about draft, if we draft Fernando Mendoza, look at what he's walking into the door with. He's walking into the door with the guy that's going to pick up third downs for him. And into a door with a guy where when he goes back and drops back into play action pass, you can sell that play action pass because the threat is real. People don't want to see that kid Genty get going. They want to see that, man. I'm telling you right now, JT, I will never understand these new school football guys that think that running backs aren't important. I just don't understand.
I agree. Wrapping this up with wasted talent, so I really want to spend the final few minutes on Max and how you're on the other side of the country. I'm going to see Max Friday. No one seems to have anything on this other than Max. Then Max has shut down other people. Then you saw the sound that John Spytek said about wanting to keeping him. Everything that he said, we're not putting words in his mouth. What Spytek said with that much media there waiting on every word that he was going to say. How have you evolved on this topic? Have you changed your opinion on Max Crosby being here next season?
No, I haven't. Because, the Raiders have always made their intentions clear. As soon as John Spytek came in here, what's the first thing he did? He went out there, he signed Max Crosby, met with him, he gave him a contract. So the Raiders have shown how they feel about Max. The only person who knows what he wants to do and what's important to him at this particular moment is Max Crosby. And the way I feel is I can see the value in Max Crosby being traded. I can, right? Do I want to see him be traded? No, because you don't build an organization by getting rid of great players. But I can also see the side of it to where, this is a new regime. You got a lot of young new players coming in. You have a whole bunch of guys on rookie deals. And, I can see them getting draft capital and trying to build around that new young quarterback. But, to me, and this is just, analyst side of it, just from a fan standpoint, I don't want anybody in the building who is not 100% on board. And Max has always been that. And I'm not putting any words and saying that he's not. But if he feels like, maybe he wants to change his scenery or he feels like he can win elsewhere or whatever, then, God bless him. He's given a lot to this organization. He's given his body. He's risked his life. There have been times where I remember a couple of years ago, he had that knee injury where he had a situation where he put his career on the line, right?
He did.
I respect it. And I respect him. I'll never badmouth Max Crosby. But at this point, it's just every marriage doesn't always work out. And if he wants to be here, they're going to have to sit down and they're going to have to figure this out. Because the one thing that I feel that's a little different about this is the fact that, years past, he's always said, hey, I definitely want to be here. This is crazy. This is noise. He hasn't really done that in a real way this year. And I think that he's trying to sit back and see what they're going to do. Because this is the prime of his career we're entering.
Yeah, he is.
29 years old. I don't think that he wants to take this decision lightly with the rest of his career, because the decision he makes this year is going to shape the rest of his.
Are you frustrated by all this? Because I'm not, because I know I can't control it. I know I'm going to get blamed, and fans are going to go crazy and scream, well, you said 2 months ago he wouldn't leave. Well, you heard. No, I don't know. So, but I'm not stirring the pot. And a lot of people in the podcast world, and you got a big one, and it's growing, a lot of people can't get engagement unless they're engagement farming. So if you pick, normally in radio, you pick one side of a topic. You're either for it or against it. Big Show, pardon the interruption, right? They take different sides of it. Stephen A. Smith became the #1 person in all of media, like him or not, on embracing debate. Well, this is a debate topic, and no one knows. The best of the best NFL insiders don't know, and they're reaching for straws. But there's a lot of young content providers who want to be known for being on the right side of this one.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't frustrate me because I understand how life works. I understand how men that have families and that have a job have decisions that they make in the privacy of their own home with their wife and with their agents. None of us know what this man is going to do. The one thing about me is that it's always the Raiders first. I love all the players that play for the Raiders and giving their blood, sweat, and tears for the Raiders. But the shield comes first to me. And whatever best for the Raiders is what I pray for right now. As far as, a lot of these guys that are engagement farming and, making things up, I think that's Bush League. And I really think that people need to realize that, we may love Max, we may love the Raiders, right? But at the end of the day, this is real life. This is not a joke. This is not a game. And this is a tough decision for him. The one good thing, and this is the reason why I don't really take a stance on this, because like you said, JT, we don't really know. This isn't, but the one thing I won't do is, and the only thing that makes me upset is when people tell me that I'm engagement farming because I have to speak. I got to talk about it. It's a thing. Because if it wasn't a thing, it would have already been put to bed.
Right.
If it wasn't a thing, the man would have come out and said, listen, just like he does every other year, I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to be here. Something seems different about it. I don't think that he's going to particularly just leave. I think there's a chance. You know that John Spytek came out and definitively said he wants to keep him. But this is up to Max at this point. And I'm going to sit back and watch everything happen. This is a big week. They're going to meet. The combine's going on. And I think we'll kind of see exactly the direction and the shape this is going to take within the next few weeks, But at the end of the day, it doesn't frustrate me either which way because, JT, at the end of the day, I think we got the guys in the building in Spytek and Brady and all these people that whether they get draft capital or whether they're going to build around Max, think that no matter what, things are looking up for the Raiders. You got Kubiak, you have Robbie Leonard, who is a terrific choice for defensive coordinator. I mean, this is a guy who's been around, Mike McDonald's of the world. He's been around Brian Flores. He's been around some great defensive minds, Rob Marinelli. And I think that either which way, whether it's them going out and drafting younger players and getting some young physical linebackers who can cover and that are fast and aggressive, or whether it's keeping Max and building around him, either which way, we're going to be fine because I really, really trust that we got the right people in the building for the first time in a very, very long time.
Great stuff. What are you streaming about the next 24, 48 hours? What's your next show going to be? Tell everyone how to find it.
On YouTube, Raider Nation Unlimited, featuring Wasted Talent, and on X, same handle. And, we're going to just be breaking down a lot of the guys that are at the combine that I think the Raiders should take a look at. I'm trying to transition into my draft coverage and trying to talk about some of these young players. That's pretty much it, JT. I mean, we try to keep it about information, not affirmation, right? No clickbait, just football.
How's the weather been out there, man?
Man, it's been horrendous. I was actually
tell everyone where you are because I'm from back east, and how many inches you got? What was the accumulation?
It was, man. Around I'm in Jersey. It was around like about 13 inches, man. It was pretty bad. And the thing for me, I was actually, when the snowstorm happened, I was in Atlanta visiting my daughter in college, and we had family day, and we got stuck in the airport for it was crazy. We got stuck in the airport. We had to get a hotel. I had to actually stay down there 2 days until they start letting flights back in New Jersey.
Unbelievable.
We were down. We were supposed to leave Sunday, and we were stuck down there to yesterday, actually. So it's been horrendous, and the weather's been cold. This is the winter that will not give up. You will never hear me complain about it being too hot outside ever again.
I got you. Thanks, my friend. I'll talk to you soon. Appreciate your time.
No problem.
All right. Wasted talent. Yeah, he's good. Been telling everybody, someone hire him, or I will. Someone hire him. I mean, I'm sure he's got a lot of opportunities. He's good. That's why we have him here. You know, Clay, when we talked about the weather today, I took some phone calls before the show in my backyard brick, and it hit 80. And I said, it's 80 degrees. It's 80 degrees in February in Vegas. You've been here a long time. Is that good or bad? Is that a sense that we're going to be at 115 sooner, or are we good with 80 and it's just kind of a fluke? What's going on here?
I hope for the fluke. I hope it doesn't elongate summer, because nobody needs it to get to 100 degrees in March, because 3 months of 100 degrees straight, that's about your limit. But 4 or 5 months, I've been here when it was like 100 on May 1st. And it was a sizzling hot summer that had no end to it. It was like 10 of those New Jersey winters right there. So let's just, I'm happy for it. The gas is off. I'm not playing, not turn on the heater. But I just worry about the elongated summer.
Yeah, you just want it to be good. It's so nice out here. Just crazy nice right now. But the people that are fighting through those East Coast winters, I grew up in it. And I went to college in upstate New York, Geneseo State University. It wasn't the fact that it snowed a lot. It just, the sun never came out. And it's depressing when you don't see the sun. You want to see the sun as much as you can. But what's happening to my friends back east, I grew up in Long Island. And Long Island got the worst part of the storm. They got it. Long Island got it more than Manhattan, got it more than Providence, Rhode Island, Boston, Jersey got it, but Long Island is where it hit. Got up to 25 to 30 inches. And I got buddies of mine who 2 days later couldn't get out of their driveway. The plows couldn't get to the next neighborhood because it took too long to plow the neighborhood they were at. Normally, these plow companies come in, boom, they'll plow out your cul-de-sac, they'll get everyone's driveway, take about an hour, right? Everyone will come outside, tip $100, $100, right? So these guys make money, and then they go to the next neighborhood. Then they couldn't go from one neighborhood to the next because the roads were under snow so badly. And, a lot of people, a lot of elderly people, that's who I worry about. The elderly people who can't get to the grocery store, don't have the ability to get what they need, the essentials. So, you know how it is back there. Take care of everybody around you. Yeah. And Snow Raider saying, that's regular life in Tahoe during snowstorms. It is. And in Tahoe, you could have one of those cabins where the bears get to, because there's no emergency workers coming to your cabin, because they can't get there. The roads are shut. And if you got a bunch of bears hanging out, you better make sure those doors lock. Man, Tahoe, you've been through a lot too. The Combine is underway. We'll say goodbye to the bricklayers. Great day today on YouTube. Have you subscribed for free? JT the Brick YT. Hit the like and share. Best thing you can do for me is not only subscribe, but share it with everybody else out there. We would greatly appreciate that. And just like Alex and Orlando de Castroverde, they appreciate this show because they know every day I say their names multiple times, because I don't want you to get into an accident. But if you do and you get injured, the brothers win. Brotherswin.com. The de Castroverde Law Group, Alex and Orlando de Castroverde. Nice job, everybody. Good job. Way to go. Talk to you tomorrow. Quick show tomorrow. We'll be here tomorrow to kick it off at noon on Raider Nation Radio, the JT the Brick Show. Thank you.